Hey everybody, this is Will from Billy the Brick Cosplay. Today I'm going to be covering a product that not very many people have heard about called StyroSpray 1000. StyroSpray 1000 is really originally designed to be more of an industrial product. If you think of those like Bob's Big Boy statues or things like that on playgrounds, those are usually carved out of XPS foam and then coated with StyroSpray to make them strong and sturdy and have a hard outer shell on them. StyroSpray is a two-part mix. It has an A and a B part. The B part is a little bit thicker, and you want to make sure it's nice and mixed up, just like with any stuff that you're mixing together. So I used a paint stick stuck into a drill, which is a nice, cheap, easy way to have a stirrer. But sometimes they break, which is fine, because then you can just do it by hand. This was already pretty mixed up, so it wasn't too bad to just finish it off manually. So my experiment here was to see how StyroSpray would work coating EVA foam to try to get a hard, durable, yet slightly flexible outer shell. So as a test piece, I took a prototype of my Kanan Season 3 Star Wars Rebels mask and coated that with StyroSpray. So what you want to do is just use a chip brush, and you want to brush it on pretty liberally, and you want to make sure you coat, especially something like this, you want to coat both sides, because otherwise when it dries it will pull one way or the other, sort of like Plastidip will. So I made like a little stand here using just some skewers and a chunk of XPS foam. I coated the bottom, flipped it over, stuck it on there, and you want to just, like I said, be liberal with it. As you can see, it's dripping all over the place, so it will be messy. Put stuff underneath your work area, otherwise you'll have dried StyroSpray over everything. It's not easy to clean up when it's wet. It's not easy to clean up when it's dry. So just something disposable underneath everything. And just coat, make sure you get the edges. And what's going to happen as it dries, it takes a few hours to dry. So what's going to happen is you're going to have drips that you're going to just want to sand off with a really, to start with, a low grit sandpaper. I think this was like 100, and just sand the crap out of it and then do another coat. I ended up doing 2 coats on this particular piece, but I've done a couple of other pieces of armor since I made this video. And depending on the piece of armor and how much, battle damage I want it to be able to take, I'd probably do 3 or 4 coats. So, prop it up on a stand, put the coats on. What I try to do is each coat I brush it on a different direction. So, and also it gets kind of slippery, so just make sure you have it propped up good. And what I'm doing here is just dribbling some of the StyroSpray. It is pretty self-leveling, and there was a little bit of a seam still visible on this, and so I just dribbled the StyroSpray in that seam to kind of build up the seam and not have to worry about it. You can see it dripping off. This is a really fast video. It doesn't look like it, but so this is just dripping as it's drying and curing over time. If you put it in a heated room, it'll cure a little bit faster. And ideally, you want to let it cure for a good 24 hours before you start puttying and primering it. And that is really one of the coolest things with StyroSpray is you can do Bondo and whatever kind of spot putty and primer right over top of it. So here is the finished mask with a coat of spray primer on it. I'm going to squeeze it as hard as I can, and the only marring, you see it has a little bit of give, and the only marring is really because of the primer. And to show just how rigid it is, I'm going to bang this piece of EVA foam on the wood underneath here. That is how solid it is. Now you can imagine if this was like a shoulder pauldron or something, that's me pushing with all my weight to flatten it out, and it just made a little crease and went right back into position. So it's pretty strong, and it maintains its form really well, which is one of the things that's great about it for armor. Again, I'm going to push down with all my weight, and pops right back out. Just to show you exactly how resilient StyroSpray is, I'm even going to take and I'm going to fold this in half the other direction. And again, it takes a good amount of force to get this thing to actually fold. I was trying to push it this way and it wouldn't actually go, so I had to squeeze it, completely fold it in half. I let go, and right back to its original shape. StyroSpray is really amazing stuff for armor, and if you want to try something new, I can't recommend it enough. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you learn something new. And if you want to try StyroSpray, the link to the site that sells it is down below. And if you want to support me and helping me make more videos, there's a link somewhere to my Patreon. I don't know, whichever thing pops up somewhere. And or you can check out my site in my Etsy store because I have lots of cool stuff in there too. Thanks.